The grade cricketer is a Twitter stream. It's about playing cricket at the grade level.
Boys!
Get a few today, did you?
To be honest with you, I hate grade cricket.
I went into to play for a team called the name escaped me.
Obviously, sharing's always a big issue for young kids coming into a senior cricket team.
I think it was like a win sleeve.
A bit of advice to the player. That's all I want.
I refer to the great cricketer here and I'll say, this will do a little bit early.
Oh, we told you for years and years and years that Scotland are the best team in T20 cricket. Will they beat India in the World Cup final? More of that to come. The T20 World Cup is, of course, well, it's here right now, isn't it? Not just around the corner, although Australia's first game is. What's going to happen? I'm frothing. At the chops. Is that a saying? No, it's not. The Ashes, more talk about that. Be respectful, says Jimmy Anderson. Will Pucovski hitting the head again. Is he okay? What's the future of Australian cricket? Khawaja scores 100. That means that he should captain Australia and probably coach CSK win the IPL final. Is that Dhoni's last game? Rahul Dravid is in line to take over the Indian top job of Indian coach. Nathan Lyon is on the show. I'm sure he'll be very respectful in his comments about headbutting the line and ending careers. That's all before we get into hashtag AskTGC. You know the gear there. This episode is brought to you by Budgie Smuggler, budgiesmuggler.com. Use the code CHAMP at checkout and watch the magic happen. My name is Ian Higgins. Sam Perry sits across from me and I, him. Pez, summer is here. Lockdown is just about over, or as I call it, haircut day.
Bit of electricity in the air, he goes.
Feel something?
Our good friend of the show, Malcolm Conn, has never been on the show once.
MC.
But he keeps putting out tweets with all of the cricket that's in the papers now.
Okay.
Now, yeah, we're a digital venture. We're 21st century. There's nothing like holding physical paper and seeing print.
Paper cuts.
Seeing ink on paper, getting a few paper cuts.
Checking scores.
Et cetera. Yeah, using it as fish and chip paper the next day.
That's right.
Etc. Use it as fish and chip paper.
I like to...
Got any paper for these? Yeah.
If it's fish?
Yeah. But there's a lot of cricket in the air. It's fucking trade week. Trade week's over.
It's a shame, isn't it?
It's a real shame. Now we're into time trials and shit. The AFL. So yeah, I don't know. But we're also being told, oh no, the phony war. Don't do that. It's all bluster. I don't know.
Well, the real stuff is getting into it here in the grade scene. And Mick has written in via Patreon, and he said, "Hey boys, in a classic park cricket fashion, a bloke in our club hit 50 off an over. Bloke's figures were one over, no maidens, 50 runs, no wickets, 8 sixes, and 2 off no balls. Finished with 100 not out off 50 rocks. Happy to DM a scorecard, which he has. 50 off and over. Now, is that relatable? I've never seen 50 off and over. I've never even seen anything above 30, I don't think, in a game that I've played in.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen like a I played in the game once where a guy forgot how to bowl. It was like a 16 ball over.
How do you mean forgot how to bowl?
It was yippish.
Spinner?
Meds.
Medium pace?
Yeah, it was tough. It was a tough watch.
In grade cricket?
In grade cricket.
Shit.
Second grade.
That's yips.
Yep.
How did it manifest?
Cross seam. The first 2 balls were dots, I think, from memory.
Okay, started well. And then he thought, well, might change it up here, just get into the deck, off-pace stuff. Yeah.
A couple blokes out in the hook as well.
Yeah.
Just change it up.
Yeah.
And don't know if he was just losing his front arm. I was at point.
But how did it manifest if you bowl Meds cross seam? Like, did the ball stick in his hand, like bounce 3 times?
It wasn't
moon ball shit.
It wasn't like Fred the Demuth Spotheth, like oil painting shit. Like,
yeah, he was quick.
Like he was actually just indicating it was 3 p.m.
That's right. Doing a windmill.
Exactly. It wasn't that. It was just, it was going straight, but it was, what time is it? Hey, Damon! That's one for the audio fans. No, it was going straight, but it was just going straight down the leg side. And then he tried to overcorrect, was like wide, like off the pitch shit.
One day, leg side wide. Got it, yeah.
Which can happen in one day,
Match fixing.
Yeah.
Could have been on the take.
He never played again.
Yep.
He never played again.
Okay.
But I've never seen like 6 sixes off and over in a game that I've played.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean,
50 off and over is like the thing about this game that I'm thinking about that I played, and it was like he couldn't get out. He was in the sunken space. He was in the sunken place. He just couldn't get out. And so he was midway through the over, and he bowled like 7 wides in a row, and there was still 3 balls to come.
Yeah, you're in the bunker. You're like, I'm never going to get out of here for the rest of my life.
And a good thing about golf is you can just pick it up and go, well, the game has defeated me.
Exactly.
But with cricket, you're like, oh, you got to stick around for another 4 hours here. Do you bring tea? What?
Exactly. I haven't seen 50 off and over. I watched Greg Mail destroy a young leg spinner from Parramatta once. We'd gone back to the club.
What were you doing there?
Okay. Settle down.
No, I saw when he was playing at Balmain.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot that he played there.
In fact, for those listening, Greg Mail's a New South Wales cricketer and a famed first grader.
Most runs ever in the history of the comp.
All sorts of runs and records and shit.
He's the most leading run scorer in the history of the comp.
Currently works at Cricket New South Wales as well. Smart
stick.
guy. It's good stick, good bloke. And I think we'd finished the game early, got down to the club, going back to the club. That was back in the days when you do that, 2001, 2002 or some shit.
Back to the club.
Yeah, back to the club because we won as well. And first grade was still going great. Mail and Hayne opened the batting. And I've watched this poor leg spinner he completely lost it. And Greg Mail destroyed him. And it was guffaws from the pavilion.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And like as a leg spinner as well, your heart broke. But
guffaws.
laughing. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fuck.
But then it's, oh my God.
Been a while since I've heard a guffaw.
Yeah. Really, yeah. I get anxious thinking about it as a leggy.
I bet.
Like small mitts, big ball, sweaty, sunscreen.
Yeah.
So you get the...
He's already dead.
A bit of that sort of gear.
Sure. Tell you what, as a leg spinner bowling to Greg Hayne, the former record holder for most runs in first grade, bowling to his batting partner, the future leading run scorer in the history of first grade. Competition has existed since the Middle Ages, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, that would have been tough.
Pretty tough as a young leg spinner. But hey, 156 grams, get it down there. All right, Pez, the T20 World Cup, it's obviously started. Oman smashed PNG by 10 wickets last night, but then the big upset, Scotland beat Bangladesh. Now, I feel like a lot of people, for our Australian audience anyway, coming back to the podcast because, cricket's about to start back up here. Australia's playing the first game since the mid-90s, I think it is. So just a bit of a quick rundown of how this comp actually works if people aren't across the T20 World Cup, because this is actually the first T20 World Cup since 2016, which you would think, therefore, would be like, oh, we should have a bit of interest in this. But hey, here we are. So the West Indies are the current champions. They beat England in 2016, if you remember that, because I certainly don't. It's like 5 years ago. So they're playing like the qualifying teams. There's Group A and Group B. There's 8 teams in that, 4 in each. The top 2 from each of those groups will go into the tournament proper, which is Group 1 and 2. 6 teams already populate those 6 teams will be in that group. There's currently 4 already in there, qualified: Australia, South Africa, England, etc. And then they'll play for the tournament. You know how it works from there.
Is it like 12? So there's 12 in the tournament.
Yes.
Proper.
Yep.
And then it becomes what?
And
4, then 2?
And then the top 2.
Yeah.
From
So 12 goes into 4, goes into 2, goes into 1.
Correct. And then 1 plays against Mars, I think it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Where Elon Musk is currently populating that planet.
Are you like... is it politically correct to say the tournaments began because all of the associate coats are playing?
The associate coats?
It's like, the tournament started yesterday. Did it?
It didn't, though.
Watch some fucking grade cricket on TV. With respect.
I got to say, I do enjoy PNG's kit. That's good kit.
Of course.
More kits. More kits. And I will say, there's actually... Well, I'm not sure how many grade cricketers are actually playing in the associate part of this tournament, but a guy that I play with, Chad Sober, he plays for PNG. He played at my club, Gordon, and also NDs. He's playing for PNG. He didn't play in the first game, but he's the best human that I've ever met in grade cricket. So good luck to him in PNG. Anyway, they got fucking pumped.
I shouldn't sledge the associate nations given. And I believe you're about to say this, but like Scotland's beaten Bangladesh. Mm-hmm. Bangladesh beat Australia 4-1.
That's right.
Through the week, Ireland beat Bangladesh.
Yep.
Who beat Australia 4-1. So you've got basically half the British and Irish Lions.
Yes.
Beating in rugby. That's right. Beating Australia.
That's right. I think if Ireland and Scotland make it through, England actually becomes Team GB for the remainder. I think.
Yeah. Australia's going well when it's conceivable that 3 of the 4 qualifiers could definitely upset us.
Upset.
Yeah, sorry. You got Andrew Wu reporting yesterday morning that we might need to go through qualifiers to make it to our own tournament we're hosting next year.
I think that's part of the reason we're hosting it. It's like, Qatar for the football.
Warner gives them a whack.
Yeah, well, it used to anyway.
And Maxi gives them a whack.
Okay, so the first game of the tournament proper, if you may, and I may not, is Australia and South Africa. Now, the great news is that TGC are doing a live stream on YouTube because the game starts at 9 p.m. Australia time. So that's something for us to watch in Australia for the first time in a long time. But our team is finally going to play a game. Australia is ranked 7th in the world in this format of the game, Pez. And people are saying, well, that puts Australia into dark horses because, we've never... Now, I can't tell if we're dark horses or I'm expecting to be knocked out in the group stage. I honestly can't tell because, we've said it before. You look at the names. Hey, some good names. Some good names for some guys who can do it. I've seen them do it before.
There are guys in the team who have done things. Mate, we're looking for presence-based victories here.
Yes.
Like we're looking for beat them in the tunnel-based victories, though there are no tunnels.
No, I don't think so.
In the UAE. And by they, I mean we are looking for that. Players are not afraid of Australia, haven't been for a long time, but we're like, you spoke to this on our show with Shane Watson. It's just like, oh, yeah, but we've got the gold thing on, and then
tournament,
we've won
Australia.
games before. So on the one hand, there's like this mountain of verifiable evidence, both in terms of our rankings and form and what the players are bringing to the tournament.
Chemistry.
That we're a mediocre, disjointed T20 side, and there should be no excuse for our white ball program being shit since 2015, and yet it still kind of is. And on the other hand, we wear green and gold and we have memories of being good.
Fuck yeah.
So we're a fucking big shot.
Okay, so...
That's my analysis.
Mate, I think that's right. I'm looking at it. So I've got... Can I read you my team for the first game?
Yeah, let's do it.
I've got Finch Warner, Smith 3, Maxwell 4. I've got Marsh at 5, Stoiner 6.
Okay.
I've got Wade 7.
Yep.
And then I've got Agar 8, Cummins 9, Stark 10, Zampa 11. So CSK winner, Josh Hazlewood, doesn't make it.
Wow.
And I don't know if he plays who he comes in for, though.
Literally the two most informed T20 players in Australian cricket would be Josh Hazlewood, who's just won the T20 World Cup in the UAE, omitted, and Mitch. Sorry,
he's already won it.
In my head, he has.
Yeah, CSK won the World Cup.
He was wearing gold and yellow, and he won some
yellow.
shit.
Exactly.
And Mitch Marsh is the only guy who did well batting at 3. You want to go chuck him at 5, which is, he may as well be in Kazakhstan.
That's what I... Are they playing?
Yeah, those decks are fast there.
They are quick, actually.
Yeah. I'm only saying that facetiously because any way you structure the Australian side, someone misses out, and we're very greedy for everyone to be involved.
Of course. So you look at that team and you're like, oh yeah, I can see how they win a game. So like categorically,
I can see how they win a game.
Categorically, Australia have to win against South Africa, who are a shambles at the moment off the field. Obviously, we'll get into what happened in the IPL final later. But so South Africa did not choose Faf du Plessis, second leading run scorer and man of the match in the IPL final last week. No Imran Tahir, who's also playing for CSK. No Chris Morris, who's the record IPL purchase. I don't know how to phrase that.
Yeah.
Highest price tag for an IPL player ever. He was playing for Rajasthan. He's not picked either. But they've still got De Kock. David Miller, I think, is an awesome player. They've got Rabada, Nokia, Klassen, Markram, Van der Dussen. I mean, these guys have all... Yep, they've all done stuff against Australia. But like, if Australia don't beat South Africa...
Did you say Shamsi there as well?
I didn't say Shamsi.
Number 1 ranked T20I bowler in the world.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
But Milan's number 1 ranked bat, so does it mean anything?
Yeah, sure, hard to tell. But like, I look at those names like Van der Dussen and you'd be like, okay, I can tell he's going to score runs in this tournament against Australia in this one game. You know what I mean? So Faf retired and was like, I'm desperate to play for South Africa. They were like, yeah, but you're not being part of anything in the lead up to this because he's playing all franchise stuff. They couldn't work anything out. He's pretty pissed off. Yeah.
Some
Instagram
shit backs that up.
Yeah.
Chris Morris, I think. So I was reading this on Neil Manthorpe's blog. Really, really good blog. Writes so well about South Africa. Yeah, Chris Morris not interested in playing. Okay. Not sure where they landed with Tahir. They couldn't work it out with AB de Villiers.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're still pretty good. Still a pretty good side.
Why do I feel like they'll chase Australia's 132 in 17.4 overs?
Mate, our contribution so far to this tournament has been that the coach has been posting LinkedIn memes. And God damn it, he posted them just as we published the show last week.
Why is everything happening as soon as
we...
Yeah.
So, like, it's kind of all been said. But I want to pick up one thing that
let's
hasn't
pick
been
it up.
said.
Come on.
You know, JL, fucking respect the player, respect the brand.
What a player.
You know, he posted this on LinkedIn. He posted on Facebook. Posted across a few different places.
Couple of platforms.
Right.
Well, you got to get the message out there.
I jumped on LinkedIn just to. We got given premium LinkedIn's after sledging LinkedIn a few months ago.
Thank you, Kayla. Yeah. I fucking.
So
hate
I think
Nike.
when I go to Justin Langer on LinkedIn, I don't think he can see that it's me. It's like, you know, private.
unless he's got premium as well. Yeah. Why don't we sledge other brands like Mercedes? I fucking hate Mercedes Benz. They suck.
Now I can't think of any brand. It's like a song.
Yeah.
And I saw so underneath his LinkedIn post there's like a lot of, you know, as it is with LinkedIn, there's a lot of positivity and oh, look at this fucking state of it.
State of it, mate.
A lot of positivity and praise. But there was one comment that stood out from Greg Mo Matthews.
Oh, yeah.
Spin consultant.
Hey, what a player.
I got to kind of decode what he wrote because of some of
this would
the
be good.
language, but it's
Yep.
T begs, why is everything so difficult? How about letting adults, grown men, be what it is they are? How about keeping the simple things simple? In the history of Australian cricket, no side numerically has the numbers of this bowling attack, 5 exclamation marks. And the two strike bowlers, Cummins and Hazelwood, are their better blokes walking the earth. Shane Warne once said something like, coaches are what you're writing to get to the game. I cannot help but think, where the hell and why not Trevor Bayliss? Would there be so much drama if this incredibly successful coach domestically, internationally was running the show? Inverted commas, elite honesty.
Wait, so he's commented that on Justin Langer's post.
I just write as a fucking
Fuck,
reply
that
guide him.
That is a gauntlet. He's a reply guide.
Yeah, just one like from someone.
Yeah. S. Perry.
No, not from S. Perry. Not at all. I'm a vehicle of exchanging information.
Yes, okay. Don't shoot the messenger.
So, yeah, I just wanted to add that there's a bit of LinkedIn fracas, that's all.
Mate, I've got to tell you, a couple of years ago, if I would have seen two greats of the game, Justin Langer and Greg Matthews, going at it on LinkedIn, I'm not sure what to make of that. The
Mate,
state of Australian cricket all of a sudden.
Think about some of the great coaches in Australia at the moment. You know, your Craig Bellamy's.
Sure.
I know Clarkson's out of a job. Your Wayne Bennett's. Just...
Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah, are they sort of
knocking about.
knocking about gaslighting on LinkedIn as a tournament starts, you know,
Well-
like, and getting a bit of reply guy from Greg Matthews. It's some pretty fucking grim stuff.
Yeah, that is some grim. I mean, it's good for comedy. I tweeted to this effect, but my favourite part of the whole LinkedIn affair was that Justin Langer has had numerous meetings now, and it's been publicly discussed. I think it's out in the open now that he's had many meetings with the hierarchy of the team and the team as a whole, maybe some other people at board level or whatever, about changing his behaviour and like his attitudes to the team and stuff. And the poem that he decided was essentially about don't change for anyone.
No,
So
but he was just sharing something his daughter sent him.
I just
that was
got a
his
message.
bit of inspiration
Yeah.
and positivity.
I got this text. I'm
Literally.
going to pop that on LinkedIn.
That's it.
I'll pop it on there.
On the eve of the tournament against
Yeah.
the backdrop of being asked to change.
So I
with
think
a
it's-
picture of a guy smoking in a waistcoat.
Kind of like a gruff like Jordan Peterson. Actually might have been Jordan
I think
Peterson.
the guys at Wisden said it was like, it read like an algorithm of everything Jordan Peterson had ever said.
Yeah, I like it. Well, it seems to be going pretty well. I like that. So I think Australia's a good shot.
Looking really good.
shot.
Yeah.
Good shot there.
The environment should be good for guys to express themselves.
Yeah, having a good time over there. All right. So that's that.
I expect Australia to win.
Against South Africa?
No. I don't know. Oh, this is the confusing bit. Sorry, I know we probably just finished off there, but
No.
You know, yep, everything points towards them being all over the shop, and then also it's Australia, so win.
I wonder what happens if it's like just an absolute car crash, which I semi-expect it to be. Oh, mate, I don't know if I expect it, to be honest. Like all the ingredients are there, but I still think Australia in a tournament, like in my brain, because I grew up in the era where we won shit, it's still like, I know, like Stoiner's good player, like Maxwell, wonderful tournament, Finch, Warner, Smith, you know, like it's all there. I mean, like, no, they should, like, they're just better. But then I like, but what about Norkia? Can we play him? You know what I mean?
Yeah, other teams have good players too.
Yeah, exactly. It's international cricket.
Yeah, but it's Australia.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, just complete. Just
So
always flitting back
I actually
and forth.
don't know what I'm expecting here because, as I say, all the ingredients are there for a complete fuck up this tournament. And so I guess my question to that extent is, like, what happens if that's the case? Like, is Justin Lane just guaranteed to be... mate, and why does it also feel like fucking it's a World Cup, the first World Cup for 5 years in this format, and we're spending all the time talking about the coach.
Well, because the coach
but he's
posts
doing it.
publicly.
I know, he's doing it. That's what I mean. What the fuck? What? And it's just supposed to be like the most normal thing. Like, it's the weirdest thing. So weird.
Nick Hockley was asked about it. The Cricket Australia CEO was asked about it on ABC a few days ago, and he said words to the effect of that his contract is up in mid next year, and he is guaranteed to do this job and the Ashes. So
the full support of the board.
No, he was asked. I think that they are. I think Cricket Australia are now aware that it's sort of. They're pretty keen to move on after the Ashes, but I don't think they have the political bravery to make that move now. And I think that they're misjudging it, because I think they're inviting. They think that by not moving him on now that they're avoiding trouble, and I think by not moving him on now they're bringing trouble. Because if they lose a game, the first game or two, it's not just us.
No.
You can see people lining up already. It's going to be and the players. And Andrew did another good article about them having to share some blame as well. How many good players there are and what their win percentage is, even before Langer.
Sure,
there's history there in this current environment. If one or two things go wrong, the players will be out for him as well, and everybody will leak against each other, and it will just continue on. They're just Cricket Australia hoping that, it's like we were saying, Sibley nicking off, he's carrying a lot of the can for the summer. He's not coming out now. Glenn Maxwell getting a hot hand, he's carrying a lot now.
Mate, we are desperate to lose in the semi-final just to fucking do enough.
Exactly.
Do enough.
It's the enough tournament.
I think my perspective of this tournament as well, just focusing on Australia and again, is a little bit skewed now, having experienced the IPL for the first time. Obviously, we've spent the last part of this year covering the IPL and just seeing how big that tournament is, and then realizing in my own mind that that's just going to be the future of it. And the IPL is only going to get bigger, and it's going to become more important. And also the T20 format, because of that, is going to become more and more important. And Australia has only ever made one final in the 14 or so years since the first World Cup, T20 World Cup. And it's like, how come we've never taken this seriously when quite clearly this is going to be the future of the game? And Australia has absolutely no excuse to not be one of the best three teams coming into every single international tournament, given the importance that the sport has in the country. And so we're just going to absolutely just burn this tournament because the coach has whatever power he has in the tournament. It's disgusting, to be honest.
I think Scorcher's ball from 2011 could
do it.
Could do the trick.
Could do it. All right, well, just have a look at the Indian team. I noticed they brought in Dhoni as mentor. I mean, fuck, that's the end of that.
Yeah, well, we could get
safety of MS Dhoni, who's just won the IPL.
I noticed every team when they listed their team squad, and done in the convention of it was to list the team and the coach all the way down. But India got to do team, coach, mentor.
Well, they can do whatever they want.
Where's our? Because we've got fucking mentors coming out of our eyeballs.
That's right.
Where's our mentor? Australia wants nothing more than a mentor at the moment.
Both kill for a mentor.
Oh, in sporting and political contexts.
Yeah.
We need a dad more than ever.
100%.
And where's our dad? He's with his family in Portsea, Sorrento.
He's preparing for Channel 7 duties.
Exactly, as he should be.
Just like us. I'm looking at that team. Rahul, one of the best IPL tournaments this year. Rohit Sharma, probably the best white ball player ever. Virat, he's good. Rishabh Pant, Hardik Pandya, Jadeja, Chakravarti, mystery spin, Bumrah. That's the best team by about twice as good as anyone else.
Yeah, it should be a pretty good team.
What happens if... But India, this is the thing with India. They've always had good teams, and they very often don't win tournaments. They should win this tournament.
Mate, you know how good India are going when all the available evidence is that Virat Kohli is a weakness.
Yeah. I mean,
and I say that with respect, because if he finds a hot hand, how do you stop him?
That's the thing with the Test team at the moment, isn't it? I mean, they're doing so well. Second to New Zealand, of course, but with him outscoring a run 100 for 2 years or some shit like that now. But I mean, yeah. I suppose with India's always had great batters, but their bowling attack at the moment is just sensational. And a guy who holds it together, Jadeja, I still think Jadeja's underrated because Jadeja might actually be the best cricketer in the world at the moment. All skills.
Yeah.
And he just holds everything together in that
Because
team.
we just see it from a distance, we go a bit of, some bits and pieces there.
Yeah, it is.
I think the bits and pieces are very substantial.
Yeah, he's got quite a good bits and pieces cricketer.
That's right.
It's like what James Hopes was. Ravindraj Jadeja is James Hopes.
Poor man's James Hopes.
sort of a poor Collingwood, sort of stump to stump stuff, middle order, good fielder and that. I think England are next most likely, but they've got huge misses of Sam Curran. Tom Curran's replacing him, actually, ironically, but Stokes and Archer, the huge misses. But I still look at their team: Bairstow, Roy, Milan, Butler, Livingston, Moeen, Mo and Morgan, I guess. He's had a horrendous IPL, but that's probably the second best team. And the next most likely to do something.
Definitely. And a very mature white ball program. They know what they're doing. You know this tournament means something to them. Yes, no Stokes and Archer hurts.
And they win. They win a lot.
They win. And Morgan is blind now, but
he is blind now.
His captaincy is worth a lot. I mean, there's a reason why
evidently,
KKR and CSK were in the final. Two blind dads were captaining, contributed almost nothing, but they know the game. They know where to put players. And Morgan's like huge in that regard. A lot of criticism of the way he's treated various players. Don't get on the fucking wrong side of him.
Oh, yeah.
Also, don't ask him about things he's tweeted before. But those things aside, he's worth a lot there as well.
Has his captaincy snuck up on you and the importance of it? Because I hadn't appreciated it until the IPL. I'd never really, even when he won the World Cup. Obviously, you can't win the
World Cup. He hasn't
World
done it in Australia.
Yeah, there's that as well. Yeah, what's it done for the Thunder though? We bat him at 7. Don't rate him.
Yeah, England, India, then England,
and then
West Indies.
I've got Pakistan could be anything because no one knows because no one plays against them anymore because we're all scared. But Babar Azam, as Mickey Arthur said on the show a couple of weeks ago, I sort of put words in his mouth, but he said that he could potentially be Pakistan's best ever cricketer. I mean, that's fucking huge. He's one of the best, if not the best T20 batter in the world, Babar Azam. They got Shaheen Shahid who's doing some good shit. Rizwan's had an amazing couple of years. They've just got elements. UAE.
It's almost as though other players have good teams. Other teams have good players.
Yeah, but can they do it against Australia, against the big boys?
Yeah, that's right. They see the green and gold underneath the Southern Cross, huh?
And then the West Indies are West Indies again could be a bit like Pakistan, could be anything. I mean, they've got the most powerful team as Andrew McDonald said on the show maybe a month or so ago, the most powerful team in the world cricket by a distance. I mean, apart from Chris Gale being a world class dickhead, saying he doesn't rate Curtly Ambrose, not going to talk to him anymore. Yeah, I think there's only one winner there in terms of good blokes.
Coats everywhere, but we can hardly complain about that.
True. Curtly Ambrose made a good point because he was saying, all he said was that he wasn't sure that Chris Gale was an automatic selection for the West Indies team given what he's done last 18 months, which you look at the record, when he scored 50 against Australia, it was his first 50 in about 3.5 years for the West Indies. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's maybe the best ever T20 player at the moment in the history of the code, but he makes a good point. But it may still, apart from that, West Indies bowling not great, but the batting is, if they get a road, they can score 230.
I know. Imagine if they brought in Sunil Narayan.
Yeah.
He missed a fitness test or some shit. It must be horrendous. He must be a horrendous schooner.
He missed a bloke test, I think. Okay, now with the T20 World Cup, we'll be doing our reviews on YouTube. If you just consume TGC through the ears, you can get the audio exclusively on Patreon at patreon.com/Great Cricketer. We're doing Australia, England, and India daily. So the day after those games, we'll be doing a review. Morning after games, and we're also doing live streams for the Australia games, which start at 9 p.m, which I think there's 3 of them, the first of which is on Saturday against South Africa. So jump on YouTube and join our live stream, and you get some scores, and you listen to us start talking some shit about the cricket, if that's what you want to do. The Ashes, Pez, or you're just rolling the Ashes and the Marsh Cup and the Sheffield Shield, and just Australian cricket generally. I suppose the biggest news of the week is Pucovski got hit in the head again at the nets. I think he was down the Junction Oval. He was just having a net and he got hit in the head again, and he was showing signs of concussion or symptoms of another concussion, which I think is close to double figures now. He's had concussions. How old is he? 23? 23. That many concussions, which I think started from an injury in AFL when he was a junior. I think that's his first one. But, mate, this is almost a yearly story now for this guy, which is so sad given what his potential and what his ceiling is. There's a bit of miscommunication about it. Tim Payne sort of was insinuating that it's bad and he's unlikely to start in the Ashes, and now Marcus Harris is going to replace him. But then the Cricket Victoria doctor said, no, it's actually not a major setback and he's going to be okay. And so a bit of miscommunication. The general sense, though, immediately is that this is a young guy who just keeps getting hit in the head, and that's really scary for his long-term health because that's all anyone really cares about, right?
Yeah, I mean...
But also runs for Australia is good.
Hey, look, Pucovski playing for Australia is a big personally appealing for me. You're just watching it.
Sure.
It as an object.
That's
he plays
right.
for Australia as an object.
Yep.
He's coming to the studio, but
Yep.
for the purposes of this, he's an object. It.
Yep.
I want hair out the back of his head.
blonde hair, young.
Yep.
Yep.
Right. Exactly. Plays video games.
Yep.
Imagines Boomerang at the SCG in video game because he hasn't played at the SCG before.
Yep.
He's said that he wants to score 30 test tons. Australia needs bats.
Yeah.
It touches a lot of
Yeah, that'd be nice.
deep-seated safety that I need as a 36-year-old.
I'd take 30 tons.
2 kids, 23-year-old gives me safety.
Yep.
No problems there.
Yeah.
But
Sounds good, mate.
It was such a shame to read that he'd been hit in the head. And you're right. I mean, I wouldn't not write off, but like Tim Payne spoke to him personally.
Yeah,
you know,
and they're friends. Like,
yeah, they're mates. Spoke to him personally and was saying things like he was shattered for him, and that he said Marcus Harris will probably become the front runner. I mean, the entire intimation was that he was going to at least miss the start of the summer. That was obviously early days. Then it emerges later, like he didn't feel too bad once he got hit in the head. He drove home from training. He would know better than to do that, given his history and stuff, unless it wasn't that bad. So you're right. There's now sort of a few competing accounts. I'd trust Cricket Victoria's account.
Yeah.
It says, I've said this before, it says as much about Payne just having to talk on a radio show, that this is even an issue. But I think the main thing is that, like, we're going to get a lot of traumatic brain injury experts over the next few weeks as well.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone saying their bit about what he needs to do with his head. He's got a lot of doctors around him. I'm sure if he turns up for the first test, it'll be because he's good to go, and it is his call. And he's a smart person, Will, and he's got a lot of good people around him as well. So you just
Like
trust,
us.
like us.
Yeah.
Just sort of WhatsApp. What do you like?
He was actually asking me in throwdowns.
Yeah,
Just set him up.
didn't know he used a dog stick. I had the dog stick. I'm sorry, but it slipped out.
He wanted half volleys.
I got
he's
bored.
like,
Can you use a dog stick? I'm like, I'll do anything.
I'll do anything, Will. Yeah. Can I wear your baggy green?
Yeah. I was actually wearing his helmet, which is why he didn't have one.
We're supposed to do a spin.
A bit of concussion stuff.
Yeah, that's good. That's in quite poor taste. No, we obviously hope Will's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I suppose in the other sense of the Ashes, Stuart Broad has said that he thinks the Gabba test holds the key to the entire tournament. And I suppose in a lot of ways it does, because if Australia don't win that, then it can't be 5-0. Just going to keep running with that. Jimmy Anderson said he's got to, that Tim Payne's got to keep it respectful, got to keep the comments respectful.
Keep it respectable.
Obviously, England will be the arbiters of what isn't respectful. But we've obviously put the call out to what the fans think.
Just with Anderson, keep it respectful. That's brilliant. Like, that is actually brilliant from James Anderson.
How so?
Well, it's like the sort of the equivalent of calling somebody who's upset histrionic. Like, he may as well have replaced respectable with civil. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
An English person telling Aussies that, they will be the arbiter of what civilised is. And this, Tim Payne's comments, which were actually, when you listen to them, very benign, were just a bit, just lacking the respect. And as you said, they will be the arbiters. That is like Chief Wiggum to the fucking rabid dogs shit, winding them up. Just throw that meat there.
Yeah.
Us being the rabid dogs.
Yes.
Anderson is now Prince Philip from The Crown, which makes no sense because he's a gruff man from Burnley. So now the conversation 8 weeks out from the Ashes is, well, there's a World Cup. Do we have to do this phony war shit or whatever? And then there's a reaction to the phony war. Shouldn't be there. There's a few people writing about that, but then there's a reaction to the reaction. There's backlash to the backlash. This is just an internet cycle that we see.
Nice.
Right? And with that in mind, I did appreciate those who continued on with the visceral minute that we launched a few weeks ago.
Visceral minute.
TC, a great title, definitely one that rolls off the tongue.
Clicky.
Yeah, real clicky.
Yeah.
And thanks to those who contributed. So we just want to play both back to back.
Oh, we should the first one.
Okay. Where am I looking? Yeah, this is me. So this is the one from the UK. The first one.
I think that's like Somerset.
Here, Tim Payne, mate. It's Franco. We'll have a little word with you, right? Start thinking you're a bloody dog's bollocks just you got some bloody torso, all right? Do you know what? Jimmy Anderson, he got a podcast. It's bang average. So is Mark Wood. He got a podcast too. it's slightly better. So don't go thinking you're a dog's bollock because you talk a bit, right? Because some people, right, they talk as well.
It makes a good point.
He makes
Some people do talk as well.
That's Franco.
I like it, Franco.
Thanks,
Thanks for sending it in.
This one's from Zachary, Australian.
Just get the fuck over here so we can fucking send you packing, you whinging pack of useless fucking #banter king fucks. Fucking did you a favour last year, tried to help yous out, and you want to pull this shit now. Not to mention you ghosted poor Pakistan, but you're fucking scared of them too, aren't ya? Just go and get all the way fucked, you pack of mildly medium-paced, cook technique, over-entitled shit kickers. The only way you cunts ever win anything is by cheating with replacement fielders, runs off deflections, and by fielding a team filled with anyone but Englishmen. How fucking pathetic. Pat and Co are going to make you look like the kids you really are. Fuck off.
So, thank you for those.
England are the cheats.
Yeah. Thanks for those contributions, and to others. We're going to try and get through them all. If that inspires anything in you, feel free to send it in. You know, we're just the vehicles to put this out. So English, Australian, any other nation. You know, whatever you want. If you've got visceral feelings, chuck it out there.
Yeah, it's for the Ashes. So
it's for the Ashes.
Yeah.
Oh, we're neither for or against the phony war. It's just we're just vehicles. You know.
Usman Khawaja scored 158 at Karen Rolton Oval, so he should play for Australia again. Thoughts?
Well, he has to be in the mix, doesn't he? I mean, there may be an opening spot, and there is a number 5 spot open, and Khawaja averages over 40.
Yeah.
He's obviously in form. Langer's fighting for his job, just needs to win the Ashes, and, Khawaja backed him on YouTube, so he's a safe pair of hands at home, so politically and I guess he's, a guy in form.
My feeling with that is that I don't think he is in form. I think he's had a number of low scores beforehand. He scored 158 in the second innings here, and that's a great innings. And I think that Usman is like he probably is one of the top 6 batsmen in the country at really any point in the last 10 years. He probably has been, I think. I don't know if it's so hard, mate, with Sheffield Shield and like the runs at great ovals in South Australia, like how much to actually weigh into that, because lots of guys...
This is on Adelaide Oval, though.
Oh, it was in Adelaide. Oh, I thought it was in Carnarvon. Okay, my apologies.
And it was a pretty spicy wicket early on, so it's worth a little bit more.
Well, second innings runs, but... So...
Typically tougher runs.
So... Yeah, mate, so what? No, I just
but
say
it's just
so.
a saying. Second innings,
Sort of tilt my head one side and
that's right.
Sort of add some weight to that, yeah.
Oh, he's played before.
You must have been a good player. Not really. I don't know. It's an interesting way. He's 34. Like, would he score runs at home? Yes, he would. What you said this the other week. Like, why do I feel like if Sean Marsh played in this Ashes batting at 5, he would also score shitloads of runs? Is that necessarily the right answer? I'm not sure. I mean, could Khawaja play international cricket again for another 3 years? Yes, probably.
I think not.
Sorry. My point is, I'm not so certain that like him scoring 100 is like just absolutely like first cab off the rank again. Now, I'm not sure it's as simple as that with Usman.
I think that he's left thousands of test runs in the bank.
Agreed.
Whether he or the environment has or whatever, I feel like the spot, averaging 40 with the number of test tons that he's got and what he's achieved is incredible in and of itself. I say it as a compliment to how good I think he is.
Mm-hmm.
If Usman Khawaja is in form and is loving his cricket and wants to get involved, I think I'd feel very safe seeing him there at number 5. He was anointed. I think he's probably got more test tons in him. I think the Australian team, the Cricket Australian administration are not looking past the Ashes for anything. There's nothing about this Ashes series that will be developmental. It's a series in and of itself, and England have treated it that way too. And so if you're just looking at a one-off, like buying a car, if you want a one-off negotiation and just totally stiff somebody because you don't have to keep the relationship longer, a bit of a stretch metaphor there. then Khawaja's right up there as a guy. He could walk into Test cricket, not be overawed. If he's in form, he can bat 5. He can open the batting. I'd like to see him in the side because I like him. I think he's a good fella.
Mate, I agree. No,
what he said on YouTube was weird, but
no arguments about that and all of that actually. It's interesting, when you feel like when you see a guy like, just for instance with me, just watching Khawaja score that 100 there, and that's his record speaks for itself. It's really good, and I think we didn't appreciate how good it was because we're still searching for all of our top 6, actually 7, including Gilchrist, to average more than 50 or about 50, because that's kind of the marker in our brains of what a Test batter should have. And then you look at every other team in the world, and they're like, no, everyone, if you average more than 40, you're a good player. It's I suppose I think about it, I'm like, well, if it's not him, then who else? Like, there's not really that many guys who exist in Shield cricket or in any domestic cricket around the world, except for probably India, where there's guys just like racking up runs like we had in the 90s in Australia, because they don't really exist anymore, you know? And like,
well, who was the pool? We are 8 weeks out, but for number 5, Travis Head, the player who played in the last series, which people would forget, is Matt Wade. I think he's gone.
I think Wade's
but
gone,
Travis Head, Moses Enriquez was probably the incumbent for South Africa.
Played in South Africa,
Yep, right up there. Now Usman's involved.
Yeah.
And it's hard really to think of anybody else.
So he scored a few runs for Queensland. Jimmy Pearson scored runs in this game as well.
I think he's a while off, but good judges say that the next keeper is Pearson, Inglis, or Carey.
Yeah.
Pearson being right in and amongst that.
Yeah.
So that's the number 7 spot.
It's not the 7 spot, yeah. But
Cameron
you're right,
Green,
mate.
But who is 5?
For 5, yeah. And it's interesting that Cam Green is he's locked, which I think is probably valid because...
I suppose that's the development selection, isn't it? It's like, look at it. 200 centimetres, there or thereabouts.
How big is it?
How big is it?
Yeah, 5. There's probably only 3 players. I can't think... There's not a New South Welshman in there, I think. Yeah. So it probably is 3 guys,
3 guys for that spot. I think if you're English, if you sort of see Khawaja in form, a bit older, you'd be like, prefer not to see him. He'll do enough.
So true, man. I hadn't thought about that. I hadn't even... Because there's a tour to India this time next year for Australia, which is just not even on the horizon anyway. It's just this Ashes series, which again I think is a factor of like what's happening with the coach and stuff. Like there's no focus on what's happening after this. There's no focus on this fucking tournament we're about to start on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like it's just the Ashes, which we could win without a coach. We could win that fucking thing with 10 players probably.
I just think the entire administration is trying to get through this World Cup and the Ashes to avoid like...
How have we got here?
Exactly.
And I don't think it's a pandemic thing.
It's a failure of leadership at the top. It really is. It's a failure of vision and leadership. That I've always believed there's a better team within those players there. A much, much better team.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so sort of 4 or 5-0 would have thought.
We were talking in WhatsApp the other day, the WBBL was under threat for a short period of time anyway because someone fucking sneezed in Tasmania.
Yep.
There's more just like border stuff going on here.
Yeah.
They're going to cancel the whole tournament. Do you know more about that?
Well, I know that they looked at it and very quickly decided it was possible to run the tournament without anybody at the game.
Yeah.
I have to say on the WBBL, like honestly, I've needed a break from cricket.
Yes.
And so I hold my hands up and say I really haven't got into it. But I have seen highlights, and the thing that stands out to me is that you can tell that it's taking a much firmer place in the summer. Its place in the summer, in stature. And the thing that stuck out to me just looking at highlights in front of me is the fielding's really good. Like they're very athletic. A whole bunch of great catches over the weekend. Patterson on the boundary, Alana King caught and bowled, Shafali Verma run out. The Indians are involved. It's looking really good, but I can't add much more because I didn't really watch it.
That's a weakness, mate.
Isn't it?
Yeah. I had a whole bunch of notes here, but I won't actually share those.
Nice, yeah.
The IPL...
No, share them.
The IPL, Bez. CSK won the final. Maybe Dhoni's last game of cricket. I think he said afterwards that he'll have to think about what's best for the franchise of Chennai Super Kings. There's obviously a mega auction coming up. Do you know when the mega auction is? Must be the next few weeks because the next tournament starts in
20 weeks.
20 weeks.
Yeah, good.
20,
little break.
20 weeks. Get a real break there. The general impressions, I mean, we spoke about this on YouTube and also Patreon about that general impressions of the IPL as two guys who had not seen it before, not really experienced it. But turns out the IPL is really good. The standard is probably by a factor of 10 the best domestic tournament. It's very close to international cricket standard. In fact, in some instances, it actually might be slightly higher because the domestic Indian players are often the best players in the game itself, ahead of overseas superstars, especially spinners. But some of the batsmen are just fucking unbelievable. Guys that you sort of might have heard the names of or pronounced poorly in the past are just, you watch them and you're like, oh, these are technically the soundest players I've seen in a generation. There's incredible cricketers over there. It's a real shame this year with the IPL, with the second stage of that. Well, the first stage, I think there was barely any fans or no fans in the first stage. And then when it moved to the UAE, there was no fans. I think they had like some ownership tickets kind of going around the UAE for the finals, or for the playoffs. But it turns out the IPL is really good and it's only going to get bigger. There's going to be more teams going to it. And I understand why, not just from a money aspect, but the whole circus surrounding the IPL. Players are only going to choose that more and more over traveling all around the world in these like bilateral series for international cricket. As shitty as that might sound to someone who hasn't consumed the IPL before, you think, no, international cricket is the pinnacle, and it is the pinnacle, but the rigmarole of everything else, when you don't need to, because you can do one tournament for 6, 8, 10 weeks or whatever you're actually there for several $1 million. Oh, that sounds pretty good. I might just do that, eh?
Yes.
Thoughts? Hey, Donny can't see anymore.
Water. You want some water?
That's not water.
I mean,
there you go, mate. Do something with that.
Yeah, cool.
No question with it. Thoughts?
Short ball there.
Yeah.
All good. I think I tweeted something like that as well about being the first experience of the IPL.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably really annoying to read. We've read so many people say the same thing. Oh, I get the IPL now. You know, like, oh, do you, mate? Good on you.
Yeah.
But then you become that person. And I said something like, yeah, I can understand the hype now or whatever. And like somebody wrote back, because you should always read the comments.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
like, if you haven't got into the IPL until now, maybe cricket is not for you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I was just like, you don't understand how deep a comment that is. I think you're right.
Yeah.
In fact, I wish someone had told me that when I was 8.
Yeah.
That would save me a lot of time.
Yeah.
And trauma.
Oh, yeah.
Pain, yeah.
We could have done a football podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Way more fun.
Yeah.
Cover Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, a bit of ownership stuff, yeah.
Yeah. That'd be good. So we were talking before about Faf du Plessis, who scored 86, I think, in the final.
Yeah, always trust Riggs.
Second leading run scorer in the tournament. And then Cricket South Africa Twitter /Insta, their social media account, congratulated Ndidi for winning the IPL, who was he was part of CSK, but didn't actually play.
Yeah.
Did he play any games? He might have.
Don't think so. I don't think he got a gig.
So Imran Tahir was also at CSK, who was playing a couple of games, but Faf was the second leading run scorer. He played every game.
Yeah.
So Cricket South Africa congratulated Ndidi for winning the IPL, and Faf just replied, "Are you serious?" Then Dale Steyn was jumping online, just being like, "This is massive disrespect." Imran Tahir and Faf have done so much for CSA and all this stuff.
Yeah. Good. Well, I don't know.
No respect.
At least they jump. They're all reply guys,
Yeah.
Ndidi gets the gig, but at least Faf and Dale and those guys jump on.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pretend for a second to be able to untangle whatever the fuck's going on in South African cricket.
So I wouldn't want to fuck with Dale Steyn.
Yeah, they're going to beat us.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I don't really know what else to say, mate.
And just quickly before we speak to Nathan Lyon, Rahul Dravid is the heavy favourite to take over as Indian coach at when Shastri retires after the T20 World Cup, which I think he's sort of distanced himself in the past about taking the job, but
he's applied in principle.
Yeah, he's going to get it then. And all these players love him.
Yeah.
He seems like a Bayless kind of thing where like, just get out of the way, do whatever you want, I'll give you a game, just support you. Fuck, I'd love a coach like that.
Mate, what about just a coach
like
stepping down while they're ahead?
Yeah.
True transition stuff.
Yeah.
Not like, let's just wait for the massive car crash and you have to rebuild it piece by piece, rebuild that car that's
Reports,
crashed.
Fucking investigations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Limbs everywhere. Surgery and stuff. And then instead, he quits while he's ahead. He gets replaced by a statesman in Dravid, like Shastri, sort of a buccaneering type, maverick. They do it that way,
isn't he?
with Kohli, real alpha stuff. And now they get Dravid, iron fist, velvet glove. We're fucked.
Yeah, this is the end. Dhoni there, fucking mentoring World Cup. Rohit Sharma's going to take over. What have we got?
Yeah.
Any car crashes for India?
What have we got?
I don't know what we've got.
We need... yeah. We've got stuff. We've got a lot of good people in Australian cricket. They're just busy.
Yeah, they're busy. They're busy. All right, Pez, before we speak to Nathan Lyon, let's thank our dear friends Budgie Smuggler. Use the code CHAMP at checkout. And as I said before, watch that magic happen at budgiesmuggler.com.au if that's your preference, if that's where your geographical location is, as opposed to other locations, which are bilateral. What does that mean? I'm not sure. Custom smugglers, Pez. Are you excited for the summer? I mean, we're just coming out of lockdown here. Good news. I mean, New South Wales have already been out of lockdown. Victoria not too far behind the rest of the country. I don't know what the fuck's going on there. We're sort of our own countries here at the moment, but
yeah. Oh no, I've definitely been I've probably been affected by the lockdown more than I'm willing to understand at the moment.
Sure.
And when we came out of the last one after 4 months, I was like, oh, yeah, a bit emotional about that, really.
Yeah.
Kept it all down during the time.
Of course.
And now we've been in for the same amount of time.
Push it deep down.
Yeah, most lockdown city and stuff, everything going real well.
That's
so
right.
I'll come out in a couple of days' time.
Mm-hmm.
Saddest thing is learning that with two very, very young kids that I don't think it really impacts me at all. I have a very, very conditioned rhythm for my life. I won't be getting to a pub anytime soon.
Right.
But if you do want custom smugglers... I'm thinking we're just talking about pirates, you know.
But I was thinking about just the people who want it. They'll be smuggling all summer long. I mean, this could be the hot girl summer that we've all needed.
Yeah.
Coming up. I mean, this could be absolute. If I'm in my early 20s, which I like to think that I still am, just absolute chaos, just knocking about.
Yeah.
I'm just knocking about.
Absolute chaos with your smugglers.
Yep.
We were talking about pirates before.
Yes,
some ideas.
Were we?
Yeah. Well, Ravi Shastri is a buccaneer.
Buccaneer, yeah.
Yeah, buccaneer is a pirate.
Yes, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, some notorious pirates through time. Blackbeard.
Yep.
Sir Francis Drake. Captain Samuel Bellamy. Ching Shi. Bartholomew Roberts.
Yeah.
Captain Kidd. Henry Morgan and Calico Jack. I think Calico Jack's from Octonauts. My son watches that.
Which one was your favourite one?
Oh, Blackbeard, for
Blackbeard,
sure. Yeah, no, he
yeah.
definitely lived up to his fearsome reputation. He entered every battle with a bevy of weapons, including knives, pistols, and 2 swords. At his most powerful, he had 4 ships in his fleet and 300 loyal pirates to man them.
What's amazing is that you weren't actually reading that. That was just the top of your top of the head.
Without blinking. Budgiesmuggler.com.
T20 Stars, Pez.
T20 Stars. Yeah. All right.
Our dear friends.
Our
the
dear
Watsons.
friends at T20 Stars. We had our final show with Shane Watson through the week.
Hey, wasn't that good?
It was good, and he should be snapped up by one of the
I'm
commentary
shocked
team.
that he is not already in talks. Well, as far as we know, he's not. He might be, but
He has a similar like knowledge of cricket as Ricky Ponting. The way he
'cause
talks about it,
they're
the way
mates.
he's so cogent and clear when he dissects a game of cricket, and all of the great commentators, I suppose Ponting aside, they all have a certain mortality in their cricketing career. You know, there's something that didn't go quite right for them, and everybody knows that's the case with Shane Watson. You know, talking about leaving runs in the bank and stuff, which he talks about as well. He's got so much to offer, which he did for us comically. So,
quite incongruous.
Quite incongruous. Didn't deserve it in any way.
But now he's still doing stuff off the field, and he's making cricket affordable again.
Making cricket affordable again.
Isn't he? He's just so noble.
Mate, he's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Shane Watson. When he did his podcast, he did it himself. You know, he worked out everything. Total labours of love, those things. Why would you do it? He's club cricket's back in action. He goes.
Sorry, I just drifted off for a second.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about Shane Watson's cover drive
and your career, but most of the it's back for most of the country and for New South Wales and Victoria. So it's all going to kick off in a couple of weeks' time. Some good news for both those states as well recently. You can get free and fast delivery at t20stars.com. Bat, pads, gloves, balls. They've got the whole thing. It's not just sticks. We'll have a bat review coming out shortly too. There's a very special offer for every T20 Stars cricket bat purchase. You get a free quality training cricket ball as well. So you don't have to steal balls from training anymore. I mean, you can steal
it. You can still do it,
but then you have one extra ball.
Yeah, an extra one, yeah.
Yeah. So you can get that online.
Both jumped in. Oh, you still steals balls.
Oh yeah, of course.
That'd be stupid.
You go training, you've got a whole collection of cricket balls in your sack there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense that you've got them. You haven't gone and purchased 15 new balls and hit them so often they've become old balls that have been around for 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
You've taken them from training and you've put them in your kit slowly. You've chipped away at it the way Fuck that cunt. I was in Shawshank Redemption. Yeah,
Andy Dufresne.
That's right. It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, it was Tim Robbins' birthday yesterday.
There you go.
A weird bit of stat knowledge there.
That's right.
Stat knowledge.
Stat knowledge. So if you want affordable cricket kit,
or some stat knowledge,
and you want to support Shane Watson, one of the great entrepreneurs and knowledgeable cricket brains who will surely turn up on commentary at some point, head to T20stars.com because they're making cricket affordable again, which I know sounds similar to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Don't think that's what I was go in any way.
No, not in any way.
Not in any way.
Maybe we just stop it at just making it affordable.
Affordable.
We just add the,
because again, it was never the case.
It was. Yeah.
Was it ever affordable?
Was it ever affordable?
No.
Cost of living situation. We should get a cost analysis on that.
That's right. But the point is, you can get some shit at T20stars.com.
Yeah, and you can find my stat analysis there as well. Here's Nathan Lyon.
Okay, we had this bloke on 2 years ago. He was in a sterile hotel room with Peter Siddle, as well as Tim Payne, and us in person.
That 2 years ago.
That was nearly 2 years ago, after the Ashes. Tim Payne was flexing at the time, and then he sort of gave us the immortal line, look good, play good, feel good. And in the meantime, this guy let us know that the ball actually bounced off a sprinkler. So, but now we've got him solo. So we've covered that, but now we've got him solo. I thought he'd be bunkered down in some bubble somewhere, but I think he's just home after training. And I think it's an apt follow-up after our chat with Graham Swan last week. So in front of us, we've got, by numbers, 100 tests, 399 wickets, a best of 8 for 50, 18 fifers, 623 first-class wickets. Australia's most successful off-spinner of all time, and hence the nickname of the GOAT. It's great to have him on. It's Nathan Lyon. Gaz, g'day.
How are we, lads? Thanks for having me.
Pretty good. Well, you asked me how I was just before we got on air, and I spent 10 minutes answering you, and I felt like I was just talking to a country guy who was like, is this bloke going to shut up? So, we're pretty good. Can you tell us, Gaz, just to kick off a little bit, we can do a little bit more like this is your life with this one, but like any relationship to grade cricket for you, or did you just skip it?
No, I definitely didn't skip it. I started playing grade cricket when I was 12 against men back in Young where I grew up, but I haven't played in a few years, to be honest with you. But my brother's the head coach at Northern Districts here in Sydney, so I know he's asked me when the Shield cricket's on and when the first test is, and wondering if I can play any games for the trees, so I'll see how we go.
You don't mean trees like an Irish person saying threes. You mean it's literally the name is the trees.
Northern District trees.
Yeah, Northern District trees.
So guys, like when it comes to grade cricket for you, 399 test wickets, and like I imagine most of the bowling that you do in test cricket, like you're in the dirt, you're holding up an end, you're bowling spells for 15 to 20 overs. Like you get the call from your brother saying like, you got to spare, Saturday, Sunday or whatever for the trees. Yeah. You must just be sort of chomping at the bit to get in there, get into the tubs and just play against a couple of first graders who want to try and take you down.
Well, that's the problem. When I play grade cricket, everyone just wants to hit me for 6, so I usually go for none for about 60 of 8 overs. So it's not recommended for me to go back and play grade cricket, I don't feel.
It's one of the great advertisements again for Sydney Test cricket, taking out test players. I mean, guys, I want to know, we haven't seen you since January at the Gabba, I guess. I mean, what have you been doing apart from kicking goals at Telstra Stadium left-footed?
Yeah, apart from that, not much, to be honest with you. That was a bet with Mitchell Moses, so he's still got to cough up a little bit of money there. But, what have I been doing? Enjoying lockdown in Sydney. Went out and bought a puppy, like everyone does. So I'm not sure what's he going to do when I start going and play cricket again. But apart from that, all good.
So because we've seen the Australian captain actually get another job because he hasn't been playing much. Have you thought about getting some part-time work somewhere? No, I haven't. But I've really enjoyed the break, to be honest with you. But I won't be going down any radio stint for with Pani. He got me on the show the other day. It was pretty awkward, to be honest.
Why is it awkward? Because I imagine like you have the current test captain talking to yourself. You've played every test Tim Payne's played, you would have played 30-odd, 40-odd tests or something like that. You'd have a number of stories that are just completely unrepeatable on air, but then you have to do a dance with him to entertain the SEN Tasmania crowd that also might be syndicated across to the rest of the world. Like, is that why it's awkward? Because you can't actually say what you think?
Well, yeah, 100%, because he's asking me all these questions. I'm like, mate, you know all these answers. Like, what are you asking me these questions? Like, you've got more detail than anyone in the Australian cricket room, but you want my opinion. So, but yeah, no, I just ended up taking a piss with him and Jack Revolt. So, it actually ended up pretty good. He's pretty happy with his setup down there, by the way. So he's set for life, he reckons.
Okay, can I ask Lino, Lino now, but there's only 12 guys who've played 100 tests for Australia, something like that, and again, we talk about horses later in the show. Like, the guys who play 100 tests, typically speaking, are like the athletes of all athletes. They were always anointed to make it to the top. They're just superstars. And I heard you say on a rival show recently that, like, one of the things you're most proud of when it comes to your 100 tests is not having gone through the 17s and the 19s and stuff like that. Like, can you sort of talk us through what it's like to make it as an Aussie cricketer without having gone through the pathway that they all want you to go through? You know, like even the way you get treated without being a 17s or 19s player or something. Like, were you treated with suspicion through that time? Do you have to work harder to be accepted? What's that like?
It was a pretty decent journey, to be honest with you. When I was 15, I was obviously living out in Young with mum and dad and my brother, and I was trialling out for New South Wales underage cricket and all that, and basically got told by one of the coaches at the time if I wanted to play state cricket, I've got to move to Sydney. And I'm like, mate, you can get stuffed. I absolutely hate Sydney. Don't like the thought of living there. It's like I used to hate big crowds as a kid. Like, just there's only 7,000 people out in Young, so it's not you can run around town in an hour. So it's like it's not very big. But so I didn't go through that natural pathway. Like, I didn't get signed up like Josh Hazlewood when he was 14 or anything like that. And that's what, as I said, that's where I'm pretty proud of, I guess. Like, I didn't go the normal way. I went out into the real world and worked and understood how I don't know, lucky we are to now be in these shoes of playing professional cricket. So not like Smithy, who's worked one day and then he got put on to work at New Year's Eve and said, no, there's no way I'm rocking up for that.
yeah, that's right. I remember that. Yeah. Hey, can I ask you about that? As you say that, Gaz, like, you worked, you had a job outside cricket, and like, I mean, you would know this better than us. I mean, surely the large majority of blokes that you play with now would rarely, if ever, have like had a job or lived like any significant amount of time in the real world, like as an adult, like outside the elite cricket bubble. Do you notice that inside? Like, do you ever think with the guys like, you guys don't know what the real world is like? Or
100%. We bring it up all the time. Like, when I first started my curating apprenticeship, I was on $5.35 an hour. So, and like so I used to go around the pubs with my mate I used to live with, Dylan, and just go around the pubs every Monday through to Thursday nights following this cheap steak night, so we could have a decent feed for $10 and save a little bit of money so we could go out on the weekend like everyone else does. So, like, you look at Josh and Smithy and these fellas, they haven't worked. They may have worked a little part-time job to get some cash or whatnot, but they haven't worked a full-time job, so they don't know what the real world's like.
Do you reckon that like influences their cricket, or like, I don't mean to you to speak about those guys specifically because it's kind of everybody, but like, would it impact the ability to deal with like leadership situations or like conflict in the workplace, just even between mates and stuff, like just to not really have had to deal with a lot of that stuff day in, day out?
No, they're coping pretty well, and they're pretty easy guys to get on with. But you look in the New South Wales squad now, and a lot of these young guys are coming straight out, and they generally don't know what the real world's like, because when we started, there wasn't big bash contracts. It was just a purely state contract, but now there's 2 contracts, and then if you're good enough, you'll get a Cricket Australia contract. So they generally don't have a clue what the real world's like, and you can see them like, what did you do today, Ollie? I went for a surf and I went down to the gym, but no, that's it. I won't do any more today. So it's pretty different, pretty scary, to be honest with you. If cricket falls over for them, I don't know majority would do. So
I think some of those clubby guys are playing the BBL on the same contract as you early doors, about $5.35, I think, something like that. Ask you guys about was it when we interviewed you last time a couple of years ago? Was it the Dragons? Is it the Young Dragons that is the name of the club? Is that the moniker?
Very good memory.
Was the Dragons.
Unless you rewatched it.
yeah. Oh, just when you're talking there, I was actually watching it just then. Yeah. So you started there when you were 12. I mean, and were you bowling? I presume you're bowling offies in as well. Were you given much of a chance early doors to sort of break into the team? Were you playing first team? Like, how old were you when you played first team for the Dragons?
12.
You were 12.
Well, you must have had a chance.
So you were given a chance then. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was only 4 teams in A grade, then 4 teams in B grade. So we're in the Dragons. We're in the A grade setup. So in Young's cricket. So my older brother played. So I got roped into playing with him. So I would have batted about 8 or 9. You got to think we're talking about country cricket here. Some guys played in shorts, bowling with durries out, hanging out inside the mouth. So it's not the greatest standard of cricket I've ever played, but I think it's really helped my development. Though, to be honest with you. So
yeah.
To answer your question, I did get a crack.
Can you compare and contrast the off-field approaches of the Australian men's test side and the Young Dragons when you were 12, and the things you might have seen in the sheds that stick with you and keep you in good stead?
One thing I do remember about country cricket was purely like would bowl in the morning, but then this was like men's rep cricket out representing young Boughton Parks. Would go to the pub for lunch, and like you'd end up having a whole schnitzel and chips and gravy, and I'd have a Coke, and all these other guys would have a couple of beers at lunchline. Then we'll go back and either have to battle bowl. So that's one big difference. Or I'd like to see brought back into the Australian Test team. I reckon like have a bowler team out and pop up to the pub for lunch and come back and watch the boys bat would be quite nice.
So it was actually Marnus bringing back a chicken schnitzel onto the field. That's what I got in trouble for last time. Yeah. Guys, 100 tests now, 399 test wickets. I mean, do you have a career goal in mind in terms, like, as cricketers, we're always driven by numbers and stuff? I mean, there's obviously some huge series coming up. I believe the Ashes is later this year, I think, and then India next year as well. But do you have like I think you're 13th most capped Australian in Australian Test cricket history. Do you want to get into like the top 5? Do you want to pass Glenn McGrath for wickets? Is there an overall goal, or just win as much shit as possible?
Yeah, it's probably more win as many games as we can in many test series, to be honest with you. It's that hard to put numbers on your career, especially when you're at the absolute top. I feel like our careers are held in someone else's hands, and if they've had enough of you, they'll just let go, and suddenly you're dropped and you're done. So I find it really hard to put set numbers on it, and especially with set wickets, because if guys aren't playing catch, it's going to make your job even harder to get up to 560 or 709. But I think it's more about test series. I think big goals for me is winning the Ashes away, like properly winning them, but also winning a series in India, which would be 2 big ones for me.
Have you got the ideal scenario in mind? You've been playing in your head since the Gabba for the 400th Test wicket. Is it going to be like Warren for 700? You're going to wheel away to one side. Have you got a batsman in mind that you want to get the 400th?
Well, do a lap, run around, do a lap. I won't be doing a lap, that's for sure. I actually thought it was going to be down in Hobart against Afghanistan. But no, I've got a decent idea in my head how I want to play it out, but I just hope someone can hang on to one and we get past that milestone.
Can I ask, Gaz, like there was an article the other day talking about it's not so much you guys being a golden generation, but there's a lot of guys in the Australian men's test side who are very, very good and well-performed players. You know, yourself, Stark, Hazelwood, Carmen, Smith, Warner. And though you've all performed really well, like the win percentage is still pretty low. Has the team underperformed? And also, like, have you there must be a sense of frustration that, like, there's a few years there where Smith and Warner can't play, and then you've got the pandemic where you've missed a lot of cricket or whatever. Like, how sort of keen are you to make sure that the record of wins reflects how good you guys are? Because I think a lot of people would feel like you haven't achieved what you guys are so capable of doing.
Yeah, I think I'm probably in that same boat. I think you look at the team and look at the players and the squads that we've had over the last few years. I think we probably have underachieved a little bit, especially in my eyes. I feel like we're good enough to compete against anyone in the world, no matter what conditions they are. But one thing it is showing that it is how hard it is actually to win series and win games of cricket away from home these days. So. But saying that's no excuse. I see that as a big challenge and something that we should be all striving to come out and get better. But I can't wait to play Test cricket. I think I've played 4 tests in the last 18 months, I think it is, or something like that. So I absolutely can't wait to get back playing cricket, to be honest.
And with this Ashes coming up, I mean, can you give Australia what we want to hear? Is this the worst England team to ever come to Australia? And what are your thoughts on Brexit?
It's definitely not the worst team. I can't get over all this chat that's coming out. There's some superstars in there. There's a bloke called James Anderson, goes pretty good. So
yeah,
and Joe Root. So I'm still hoping for a 5-0 victory day for us.
See that they'll take the hoping out of that now. That's going to be the art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, Nathan Lyon says 5-0. What do you What do you make of they're talking like we live in an internet age now where like you have a problem. I know you probably wouldn't be big on the net, but like you got a problem and then you have the backlash to that. Then you have the backlash to the backlash. So like you've got the war of words between Australia and England. You know, we chip each other, and then people will say, no, it's a phony war. It's not really a war between the two, but they go back and forth. And then guys like you in the past have said provocative things. It's like, oh no, he's going too far one way. Then James Anderson will say, oh, you've got to keep it respectable or whatever. Like, do you feel like have you actually got like an under the table money to like promote the series by just sledging England or whatever? And like, because I've seen you guys all have beers together and stuff like that. Like, is it all fake or do you hate them?
Hate's a strong word.
Yes, it is.
But for a kid growing up, I was always wanted to play the Ashes and play Test cricket. But even playing backyard cricket, we tossed the bat up, and whoever lost, the toss was always England. So England was always bowling, and Australia was always batting between me and my brother. So it's just a great rivalry, and like I love the Barmy Army. I really hope they can come out here and do the 14 days, and then come out here and sing some songs. But it should be good. It should be all pretty respectable. So Jimmy should be pretty happy with it.
Who is the best bloke in England? Like, who do you seek after the series where you have a beer? Who's the first guy you go to? Joe Root seems like a good bloke.
He's a good beer.
He was a good beer.
I'm probably going to Joe Root because I've got a relationship with him from before we both started playing professional cricket. So he was in Adelaide when I moved down there. So we hung out together. He didn't really know anyone. I didn't know anyone. So we trained a lot together. We went out and had a few beers and even went on jet skis together. So that was good fun back in the day. And 2010. So Josh Butler's another good one. Yeah. But yeah, there's a few of them.
Do you reckon if we keep talking about how nice England are and like how much you like them or whatever, like anyone in the media will pick that up? Or do you think they're just waiting for you to say something, really derogatory?
Probably both, I reckon. I reckon the media will run with anything that I say, so and try and shit stir someone. So that's all good. That's all part of it. So
it feels to me as like sorry to interrupt. Sorry, finish what you say.
No doubt there'll be some banter before the first ball comes. Let's just make sure they get out of here first.
Sort of feels like part of the playbook to actually wind England up though when they come out here. Like it feels like that. Like we seem to want to make it more nastier and more Aussie than we do any other team that comes out. Like it feels like the sun beats down harder. The hue of the blue in the sky is brighter. The moustaches grow longer. The bounces are quicker. The barbs are more aggressive. Like, is there, because I know Australia likes to think of itself as like psychologically really dominant. Like, do you think that does work with England a little bit? Like, do you think they do get scared by that kind of like brash Aussie stuff?
No, the only English team I've seen scared was when Mitchell Johnson was bowling, to be honest. But and that was from 1 to 11.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Viewing, but I was even scared at leg slip there half the time. So it's just the pinnacle, though, isn't it? So there'll be some banter thrown about here and there, so I'm all for that.
I'm just still thinking about you and Joe Root on a jet ski and
Yeah.
somewhere off the Australian bights, and I need to know more.
I
about
reckon
that.
I've got a couple. I reckon I've got a photo here. I'll try and find it and I'll flick it to you.
Yeah, please.
please
That
do.
would be great.
I'll have to do some digging, but it'll be, yeah.
That'd be
Good
nice.
banter.
It's 100% your screensaver,
Yeah.
and you're lying.
Yeah.
Any idea what the bubble protocols are going to be for you guys? I mean, it's sort of odd because I think by the time the Ashes starts, that most of Australia will be open. I think anyway. I know you guys have a different thing, but I mean, I presume you guys will be in a bubble. Like, how does it work? But also, you're having to quarantine to play the first Test match in Queensland. Is that how? Do you have any idea what's going on?
What I'm hearing is that Cricket Australia doesn't actually want to have a bubble this year. So obviously the World Cup boys, the guys from New South Wales and Victoria getting into Brisbane will have to do some quarantine with the England side, I think. So I think there will be some quarantine for us. But apart from that, I'm pretty sure that Cricket Australia is hoping to just have a normal life, normal series, crowds, guys can go out for dinners and catch up with family and friends as well. So which will be really good. So it's just 14 days that, to be honest with you just got to suck it up and get on with it.
Yeah, 5-0.
Yeah, Gaz, speaking of like Test cricketers pretending to be nice to each other, like have to ask, you celebrated your 100th Test against India, famously, and after they wrap up the match, they present you with a framed shirt, all signed. And I just, now that you're with us, I have to ask for your interpretation on that gesture, after they'd basically, taken over the fortress of the Gabba. Yeah. They'd knocked it over. They then give you this shirt. Like, are you, like in grade cricket terms, I know exactly what that is. You know what I mean? That's a champing.
Yeah.
Do you regard it as a classy touch or death by 1,000 niceties?
No, I put it down as a classy touch, to be honest. I think it's all off the back of Ajinkya Rahane, to be honest with you. I know Ross Taylor played his 100th Test against him. He didn't get a shirt, and I don't think Joe Root did. Joe Root did about 2 months later as well, which is a little bit interesting. But no, I don't see it as a champion at all. Very nice gesture. It took me by surprise, as you can probably see in the footage.
Are you saying there, just to clarify, are you saying that gesture would not have happened had Virat Kohli been the captain?
You're going to have to ask Virat when you get him on here next week. So, I've actually got one of Virat's shirts down here as well, so he was very kind to give me one of his as well. So a couple of decent bits of memorabilia there, so pretty happy.
I can't believe we're getting Kohli on the show next week. That's huge.
That's a great
get for us. Gaz, I can't. Obviously, the Aussie guys are starting their T20 World Cup campaign on Saturday against South Africa. I can't tell if we're good or bad, or if we're seventh, or if we're going to win the thing, but it does feel like our white ball program in Australia has been neglected, I suppose, a little bit, basically since we won the thing in 2015. Does that ring true to you? I mean, it just seems to me we hardly ever play our full strength team. I know that the schedule's so much and guys are all over the world at different times, but does that ring true to you? We sort of neglect the white ball stuff a bit?
I'm not sure if neglecting is the right word. I think over the last little bit we haven't been able to play the full strength team. You look at the last two tours, a lot of guys jumped out of those tours and because of bubble reasons and mental fatigue and all that stuff. But if you look at this squad now, it's a pretty well-rounded squad, to be honest with you. So I've got high hopes. Obviously, they're all my mates, but a couple of really my best mates are out there. So obviously hoping that Mitch Stark and these guys have the best tournament of their life, and that they can bring it home. But talking to Mitch and Josh and Pat, especially those three, that they're pretty confident, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. I heard on another interview, Gaz, that early in your career, when you were working yourself out and you went down the different path via missing out 17s and 19s to make it to the top. Through that time, I heard this phrase from you. You said, I learned to fall in love with my stock ball. And I just want to know, like, as a spinner, like, can you describe the depth of that love? Like, what's that relationship like with your stock ball? Like, what does it mean to fall in love with your stock ball, and what have been the fruits of that relationship?
Yeah, it's been pretty amazing, to be honest with you. It's probably the most long-lasting relationship I've been in. So it's been very good. It's been very good to me. It's just the shape of it is absolutely perfect. So I've got very fond memories of it.
What have you learnt from that relationship? If I could just follow up, like what is the nature of it that makes it so good? It sounds like it's a giving relationship. You learnt to love it for what it was, and then it obviously returns that love to you. It's very good.
When the love hits the right note, it really spits back out some really nice rewards for yourself. So it's quite
fantastic,
quite special.
Well, congratulations.
399 Test wickets.
That's right. A lot of love. And just finally, Gaz, while we're on spin as well, like, can you just tell us, you were the first spinner in Australia following Shane Warne to have sustained success and continued success as well. And there's so many people before you have fallen over, trying to become the spinner for Australia in the wake of just Shane Warne's majesty, and genius. Like, did you find it difficult being in his, following in his footsteps, or were there already enough people who kind of fell over before you that people were willing to accept you in a loving relationship for who you are?
I don't think there was many people out there willing enough to accept me for who I am. I feel like I lived a lot of my life in Warnie's shadow, and to a certain degree I probably still do. And that's understandable in my eyes. He's the best to ever play the game. So I'm talking about on the field here.
I've heard the same about off as well.
haven't gone off the field journey with Shane Warne. But a shame. I think it's. I think I tried to embrace being in his shadow rather than looking at it as a fear, if that makes sense. So I really just knuckled down and fell in love with my stock ball, which was a big key.
One last thing, just off the top of my head, I realise it's a bit all over the place, but you'll play all tests, if you're fit. And Australia, when they play in Australia, always plays a spinner and 3 quicks. And, then you get, this time around it's Cam Green. Hopefully someone else can bowl some overs there. It's unclear what England's going to do. I know you don't really want to comment on the way England sets up, but what do you make of the possibility that they could be going into, or any team could go into a series in Australia without a spinner, a frontline spinner? How important is a spinner for playing in Australia?
I think it's massive, to be honest with you. I think spinners throughout Australia can play different roles, but then you can't just pick a team for the first session of a test match. The test match actually goes for 5 days, believe it or not. So there's a lot of time and a lot of cricket. So I see spin as a very important weapon. But even when the ball is doing heaps in the first hour, I actually reckon spin's probably the biggest threat, because you can actually make the batters play a lot more. So I think a spinner is behind the captain and probably number 2 picked.
Nice one, I like it. Nathan Lyon, thanks so much for our questions all over the place there, being so generous as well. And obviously you've got a note from someone at CA to keep the Ashes chat down. So that's all good. I know there's 8 weeks to go. If you want to send through the pictures of you and Joe Root on a jet ski, that would actually be really appreciated. We could do the rest with that there, because I think it might actually create a lot of more of a bond between both teams that really no one wants to see. But anyway, that could just sort of throw the cat amongst the pigeons, and maybe reframe you in England a little bit as well, as a guy that's mates with the captain.
Yeah, no, England hates me, which I'm totally fine about. So I've got no stress there. But no, pleasure. Thanks for having me, and I'll see what I can do.
Pez, Manscaped, our dear friends Manscaped. Supporting TGC, as they have been for, it feels like it's been a year. Has that been the case?
Yeah, sure.
Feels about right.
Yep.
And what a great alignment for TGC and Manscaped.
Hey, do you want to do like a Halloween version one or a space version?
I want to do a space version.
Space, okay, great.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking about William Shatner, who's in space at the moment. He went up to space.
Is he a hairy man?
No, I don't think so. No, no. Although he strikes me as the kind of guy he could go both ways with it.
Right.
He keeps it clean shaven, but I think he's got some potential for some growth there.
Yeah, down there. Okay. Oh well, attention.
I'm not talking about his penis. I'm talking about his face. But I guess
He's got potential for penis growth
he's
down
got
there.
potential for penis growth.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the sort of thing we talk about off air. That's
Finally,
what we
someone
bring
said
that
it.
vulnerability to the show.
Yes.
The things that people actually talk about.
Yeah.
What's
actually
William Shatner's penis growth like?
We've actually got a spreadsheet up at home. It's just an Excel spreadsheet, but it updates by itself. It's
Yeah.
actually a digital framework that we've got in the office here.
We used to have the tally like they had on what's that car show?
A Top Gear.
Top Gear, yeah.
Yeah.
Penis growth.
Penis
charts.
growth, yeah.
We used to have that at our club as well, actually.
Yeah. And
But they just lodged in someone's head.
top of the charts,
Yeah.
RM Williams.
Indeed. He didn't need to manscape. Back in the day, real men didn't manscape.
But we had to get rid of that as a way of life.
Do you know that would have been frightening for women back in the day?
I imagine quite a few things.
Just like
Like the
RM Williams trimming himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because everyone just had hair back in the day.
Secateurs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We don't need secateurs anymore with Manscaped. All the way from Australia to Houston. Do we have a pube problem? It wants me to insert space music here. Do we have a pube problem? Nah, come on. Shouldn't overdo that song. Our friends at Manscaped have cleared you for takeoff with their 4th generation and brand new Lawnmower 4.0. All right, so yeah, that's all that shit that I've said before. What? It's a lawnmower. It's summer. Your hair's growing a fair bit. My grass is growing a lot in the backyard, and that's not a euphemism. You get a bit more. You get a bit more water on that bad boy, a bit more sun, and you have to mow it every week or two. That's the desperate, dull suburban life that I live now. I've got no problem with it, and I guess it'd be the same with Manscaped. I'm not saying your hair grows more because it's summer, because you're not getting more water on or anything like that.
Well, it depends where you are.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on that? No. Just depends where you are.
Yep.
You can grow faster or slower.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that.
In relationship to the equator.
Got it. Right. So either way, you just want to be a little bit trimmer in the summer in Australia, don't you? You don't want to be carrying too much hair.
Well, if I do a crossover, if you want to wear budgie smugglers, you're gonna have to pair these two together.
Oh, that's a good one. Erin Holland, who I mentioned last week and then sort of anonymously mentioned the week before, was fine with us noting that it was her and her husband Ben who were recently in the market for and purchased Manscaped.
That's right.
Material. So might stay in touch and see how it's going.
Hey, Aaron, just checking in.
Really desperate for some copy for this stuff. So I don't know how's Ben going. How's the scaping going?
Just trying to find an angle with it. So,
That line actually starts to feel a bit too much. So I apologise for that. Definitely not got no C's. Yeah, the Performance Package 4.0 includes the Weed Whacker and some other shit, crop mop, ball stuff. Yeah, pretty. Actually, like my my 1-year-old gets into the toiletries and has pulled out the ball deodorant a few times.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so that's just life, you know. At that point,
that's life.
9,000 RPM motor powered 360-degree rotary dual blade system as well. In case you were wondering about the sort of the tech specs.
Yeah.
And then you got a nose and ear hair trimmer.
What's the code, Pez?
Code's TGC at manscaped.com. 20% off plus free shipping with the code TGC at manscaped.com. Your dick and balls will need some help for a clear trinity and beyond. Your balls, space balls will thank you.
Hashtag AskTGC. Jack writes in, hey boys, I'm sure you saw Australia's golden boy welcome his newborn son into the world on Twitter this week. Congrats, Camo. But have a good go at the mitts on Paddy. It's no secret that the cricket players, or elite athletes for that matter, have absolute dinner plates for hands. Yeah. Mind-boggling. He's palming that infant like it's Rodman pulling down his 20th rebound in the 96 finals. That ween should feel honoured. That 6-foot fuck-off dairy-producing latte-sipping homegrown Aussie beef PJ Cummins is holding him in such a manner that the rest of us can only dream of. Send this to Dad to get his thoughts. Would be nice to hear from him. Sunny tomorrow, Jack.
I mean,
how the mitts on it?
He's completely right. When it comes to Cummins, it's very much a case of how's the mitts on it. You know, you see it, you just look at all of it.
Get out of here.
Well, there you go, and it makes you feel good. Okay, that's some homegrown Aussie beef and stuff. The only thing I take issue with is like he's saying that the child should be grateful or honoured that his dad's holding him.
Right.
But I'm more of the mind of like, what can this kid be?
Yeah, exactly.
Not without putting pressure on young Albie.
Well,
who's a few weeks old.
Sure.
Doesn't need any pressure. Don't think Albie will listen to this show, but I'm just more excited to see the beef that's being grown. It's the horse of a thoroughbred.
It's the cattle. Yeah, it's the horse of a thoroughbred. Now, on last week's episode of hashtag AskTGC Fridays, Pairs at patreon.com/great cricket, we were talking about athletes being horses and the depth of horses in Australian cricket and sport in general. We try to compare Babe Ruth to Bradman, the horse categories there, just horses.
Everything
horse.
Sport is horse.
Sport is horse.
Sport is horses. Life is horse. Life is horses. No, because we were just talking about what sort of... Because we're like, if you see a horse in the flesh, big old thighs, muscular thighs, you go, fuck, look at that horse.
Hey, look at that horse's legs.
Yeah.
How about the legs on it?
Exactly. And that in the flesh, going to the races and stuff, which we don't really go, you and I. But it actually applies to life beyond that as well.
Life is horse.
Because when we saw the guys at the SCG, I've said it before, they're all just big thoroughbreds. You're never going to make it. But it also applies in life. In politics, I was watching Bad Sport the other day, the first 15 minutes of the Cronje
Looks
thing.
good.
I had to turn it off, not because it's shit, various other reasons. But yeah, fucking I
was match fixing on the
6
game.
o'clock at Mooney Valley was like. But you know, like it was Cronje, and they were talking about his great relationship with Nelson Mandela. You know, Madiba, and I'm like, just politically in life terms, there's a horse.
That's a horse there.
He's massive.
Yeah,
he's massive.
Yeah, presence,
mate.
No more presence, surely, than Mandela.
Nah. Is there a better presence-based selection
than Nelson Mandela?
Yeah. I'm not saying he won an election off presence alone.
He won a lot of other things.
Yeah.
But presence was there.
Well, that's what everybody says. Like when you're in his, like they talk about him as presence.
Yep.
Because we were like Bradman versus Babe Ruth, but this is next level.
Yeah. When we spoke to Mickey Arthur, he was talking about how they went to Mandela's house before a World Cup, maybe.
Yeah.
With Granny Smith and stuff. Oh, fuck Granny Smith. There's a horse as well.
Fucking hell.
How's the back on it?
Fucking hell. What about the stable? Fuck, South Africa have a stable of horses, don't they? Not rounding out my vowels when I'm talking. Sorry.
You know, when you still, like anytime you actually see Cummins in real life, it's still striking. It's the eyes on it as well. It's the eyes, it's the mitts.
Yeah.
The flick of the hair.
Doesn't even do bench.
It doesn't need to. Haven't seen its legs.
The thing that strikes you about Cummins when you meet him is he's a lot more alpha than he comes across.
He's a lot more alpha.
He'll fucking rip you to shreds.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He rips his team to shreds.
That's right.
I think. I don't think because he seems too genteel as a public presence, and that's not a lie.
And there's no facade behind that. He is a nice guy.
That is who he is. He understands. Like that's a great way to present it because that's who he is publicly.
And we can say that as one of his best mates.
That's right.
Yeah. Doesn't answer a lot of calls or texts, but how are the legs on it?
Oh well, just for this, I actually texted him after his trial. So congratulations, you're going to be a great pupper.
Couple of blue bombers there, I would have thought.
No, a couple of days later, wrote back, but I feel like it was a bit pro forma.
Just a template?
Yeah. Thanks, yeah, can't wait, whatever. You know, who the fuck's this?
Yep. Yeah. You sent that from your personal one or TJC?
TJC doesn't have a mobile phone.
Oh, it was a mobile phone?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got to get me one of those. Still playing Snake on mine.
What's the point? Cummins is a horse.
Yeah.
We'll go a few horses.
Stark's
do with a few
horse.
more. Stark's a horse, yeah. Hazelwood, fuck.
Oh, fuck, there's a horse.
I tell you what, he's
a horse.
I heard this phrase on Offsiders on the weekend. He's a bush horse.
What the fuck does that mean?
Bush horse.
He's a bush horse. Like a Brumby.
I didn't ask John Stanley to clarify while I was driving in the car.
Call in. Excuse me, what's a bush horse?
I just heard bush horse. I'm like, yeah, that is a type of horse.
There must be someone from the country listening to this. Tell me what a bush horse is.
Well,
right
I think in racing terms, like it's I presume it's like sort of it's a wild, untamed kind of
well, you know how
racer.
there's a lot of
He's coming from the bush,
great cricketers come from the country often, and like some of the theory behind that is because like some of the wickets in Sydney, for instance, they're like really flat wickets, and some of the guys in the country who are batters playing like slightly less or more
sporting,
sporting wickets. And so they have to refine their techniques. So their country cricketers, it's gruff and it's rough and it's hot and it's dry.
Unpolished.
There's no fucking water.
Yeah. They could
droughts.
They could be
horses everywhere.
A bit more respectable in the way they carry themselves. A little bit more civilized, if you will. Yeah. Hey, Tim, keep it respectable. Oh, I'll fucking kill you. Every week there's a death threat. It's fucking, it's genius of James Anderson to say that I am a dog.
Well, it's not his first rodeo.
Keep it respectable. Oh, that
hits right at the nerve.
Oh, mate, perfect.
Right at the nerve.
Seriously.
Us fucking cavemen down here. It's what he's really saying.
that's good nerve touching. So
we
because
sent you down here on a fucking boat
because he gets the opportunity to take the high ground
It's
while
high
saying
ground.
the most hurtful thing.
He probably said it from the James Anderson end. Sipping on an Earl Grey.
Keep it respectable, boys.
Fuck, he's a good bowler, though.
Oh, really good bowler.
In England.
Horse. Royal Ascot stuff.
Yeah, he's Royal Ascot, but we've got Bush Horse, Hazelwood.
Yeah. Prancing past the Queen at Ascot.
What the fuck are we talking about?
Bush Horses versus Royal Ascot. That's the Ashes.
Put it to me in grade terms.
Hey, that's what Patreon sounds like if you want to join, by the way.
All right, thank you very much, Nathan Lyon. Thank you much to you guys out there for tuning in to TGC. As ever, see you in the live stream, 9 p.m. Australia time for Australia, South Africa, right there on YouTube's. See you on Patreon for those who want to join there. And, yep, that'll do. Cheers. See you next week.
Cheers.